everyone, Joe here from ActionX. Welcome to What's in the Tube, welcome back. If this is your 17th The Rookie Season 8 episode review, hope you're doing well. Hope you're staying safe out there in the big old world. Yeah, I'm very delayed. I am very delayed. The finale aired already. I have been partially spoiled. I'm like, damn it. It's like the one time The Rookie has to come back prominently in my Twitter feeds. And yeah, so I'm aware of what happens, but I'm not gonna no future spoilers because for someone watching in a time loop right now that me doesn't know it like I do, then you won't be spoiled. So that's how far behind we are. So I'll have to change some things up with the rigmarole at the very end of it. But for the time being, here we are, penultimate episode of the season, about to wrap it to a close. And for this episode specifically, I thought it was good. I thought it was a good episode. I really was a little bit surprised in how they formatted it. Like, just the way, like, they didn't do their usual tropes of, they did and they kind of didn't. It felt like it was going to be a whole different episode. Then when we got to the latter half, it felt more like it all made sense on paper on what they were trying to do. It just felt like certain things ended earlier than others, and then other things kind of popped up in the middle, which honestly, again, you never really want to set up the entire storyline at the beginning. But I guess in reality of it, just to speak about it up for a second, I felt like, I think they realized, like, oh man, God, we got a whole 2 episodes left in this season. Let's accelerate it. Because it really felt like there was like 2 core storylines that should have been a little bit more like their own episode. But I also admit that I'm happy they didn't drag it out. So it kind of felt a little bit of like a weird, like, in between, so to speak. And that's kind of how I view it, to be honest with you. And that's the case where, like, I mean, for me personally speaking, like, again, this is the first show. I mean, obviously we've only been doing What's in the Tube for like 6 years now? 6, 7? So I'm aware that there's gonna be things that this is whole new territory for me. I never reviewed up to a season 8 of the show. I think the most is a season 4. That's about it. And other than that, so we're like venturing in way far out to new territory for me personally speaking. So to be at this point where, like, yeah, like, certain things aren't going to be as tied together very well as others. That's how I view it, to be honest with you. But again, I trust the writers and what they're doing. They've so far managed to deliver a really good season of television so far, just by this point in the season. And with this episode specifically, as much as I noticed there were some caveats, I think at the end of it, it was still a really solid episode. It sets up in a very lukewarm way of what the finale is going to be. Now, there's still things we don't really fully know about. Well, I don't know about the finale. I know one core aspect of it, which we'll get to in the recap. But other than that, I really don't know. Like, they feel like it ends a lot of things for the moment, for this season specifically. Obviously, there's still more they can do in season 9, but for the time being, we're still waiting on that. But with that being said, let's go for the Butcher recap and talk about this week's episode of The Rookie. So we can begin with our boy Aaron. Yeah, it's been a while. Aaron was in the beginning of the season. Now he's at the end of the season. It's a very poetic. We can't drag him out. We can, but he's here. He's chilling. Not really chilling. He's cruising, driving through the streets of LA. Brand new car, brand new watch. Got the whole 9 yards. Just ready to tear it up. Sadly, he gets cornered by a bunch of vehicles. Immediately getting ready to get into tactician mode. Calls for backup, but sadly, there's just too many men for him to cover. So he decides to just give it up for now. He'll have another opportunity down the road to get everything back, which is what he does as he gets a little bit of his ass kicked as, his car, his watch, and his phone his wallet gets stolen, all from under him, and they just depart with all the stolen goods, leaving Aaron in the middle of a very darkened LA street alone. Very alone, so to speak. We cut over back to Nolan, who is still recovering from his gunshot yesterday. So we're immediately just thrown back into the story, which obviously makes sense with the whole, Glasser's ex-wife taking away the kids, cliffhanger we got last week. So definitely Nolan looped in Harper about it. Obviously, this is a bit bit concerning considering the fact they have to be at court by 2 o'clock. It's already morning time, daylight's burning, and no one's gonna get involved in it. But however, Bailey looks at him and is like, "You ain't not ready to get back out there. You are on medical leave. You just started your medical leave." And no one's like, "Well, if I don't do something, no one else is gonna do it. So I gotta get back out there and find this woman." And Harper's like, "I agree. So let's go together. Come to the station, and we'll get set up, and we'll head back out there." And so that's what they do. So. We cut back to the station where Juarez and Chen begins their shift with bringing back Aaron to the station, getting filled in on like how much money this man lost in just a matter of seconds. And again, obviously, when you have all that expensive stuff to your name, you're bound to get written up. And even Bradford's like, damn. Okay, we'll see what we can do. Look at nearby fancy auto chop shop. See if we can try to narrow down the field immediately. They couldn't have gone far. This just happened a few hours ago, so it's got to be somewhere. Bradford immediately takes Lopez away to get her opinion again about the ring. The ring. Yes, very. I guess for Lopez's standard basic search and just internet searching, this ain't it. And obviously she has one. Like, you and Chen has been through so much history in these years that it really doesn't make sense for you guys specifically to just do it like this. It's kind of team. It really is. And Bradford said, look, at the end of the day, I just need your help with this. If you can give me a help, I'd be grateful. You can't get out, but honestly, I'm gonna go do some Watch Commander stuff. So if you can, just peruse around and see if you can find anything of the sort. Monica is making some big plays. She goes back to the crooked lawyer that Wesley has been hashing with for the past couple of episodes, and it tells him basically she's worldly screwed. Obviously she's trying to get her financial future back on the road. Obviously she's being severely watched by the FBI. This new criminal empire is basically hounding on her. It's like, okay, you want to provide, you want to really be on our payroll. Okay, well, here's the thing. I'm going to give you a name. You're going to choose it. You're going to choose to how you want him to be off the board. You use your FBI connection. You get my competition out the field. And Monica's kind of screwed because, again, the FBI connection, they're really very sketchy of her. Obviously, all the woman wants to do is get the hell away with a bunch of money. I'm sort of trying to figure out what to do. And he's like, well, weigh in your options. Is like, you either do what your court assigned to do, or get down, and then you kind of have what you're presented with you, like in this situation. So in reality, why is this man even here? I don't know. But he's going for all the options that she can do, and obviously she wants to go somewhere luxurious with a lot of money and never deal with this again. She's kind of already had her fill of criminal empires, criminal conspiracy. She's had enough of that. She's ready to kind of take a chill pill and kind of get back to the luxuries of her life. So definitely she needs to find a way to get into the FBI, try to make sure Garza and Gray gets to do what she wants to do without them being caught onto it. But of course, obviously, Garza and Gray know Monica's up to something. There's just too many activities right now, too many moves that is so suspicious. This woman is clearly trying to get more money out of us and trying to get out of this deal somehow. And they're like, agreed, but what can we really do? We were just sitting back. We have to trust our tipster, but we really don't. And so they're kind of confused. Okay, what can we really do to get this shit done? So they're pondering, they're thinking about this. We'll come back to them momentarily. Bradford heads back to his office and he finds not only Lopez with Harper, Juarez and Aaron are there too, looking for these rings, trying to see what's going on. It's like, y'all you acting like this is high school or something. Y'all should be getting back to work. And Bradford's like, Lopez, I literally just said you. This doesn't have to be a freaking class discussion. And they're like, yeah, sure. But Aaron's like, look, I got a guy. I can hook you up. Trust me. I know this guy. He'll be chill with you. He'll help you find the right ring for Lucy. And then Bradford starts dismissing people until he realizes, okay, so what am I going to do? Because at the end of the day, I don't want to make a mistake. After last week's Shabago, he needs to really find the right ring for Lucy. And Juarez like, well, I'm riding with Lucy all day today, so why don't I try to get some information out of her and I'll pass it along to you? And Bradford's like, I don't got that many other options, so I'll take it. Nolan and Bailey get assigned with with Harper and of course Miles, which I completely forgot about last week. To go try and find Glasser's ex-wife, which they do manage to find a little bit of a lead from an ex friend of hers from the past. So they look that up. They immediately hit her up straight to the address. She's already there, and obviously she gives the whole spiel of like, knowing that her ex-husband was a murderer, and the fact that his own son was in on it to protect his dad, like not even caring about the emotional ramifications that it would have on his children, is what scared her. Is considering the fact that there will be people out there trying to kill him probably for the rest of his days. She just like, yeah, I can't have that person like who could potentially win this entire case be around my children. And Nolan Harper agree with her, but at the same time, if she doesn't go with them now and make that court appearance, he will definitely win. And that when she inevitably does get caught, because again, like unless you're a master spy or something, you're gonna get busted one way or another at some point. So better just come back willingly, take the chance, which honestly is a much better chance than you going on the run and risking everything. Which she abides and agrees that okay, I'll go with you. So Glasser, who's just again like this pent up mode of like, I'm ready to kill, I'm ready to kill, I'm ready to get back out there. And his lawyer tells him, hey, I heard some scuttlebutt. Your ex-wife ran away with the kids. She missed one of the deadlines, so this could be in your favor. Like we find her, we find the kids, boom, you got the sole custody right there. And Glasser's like, good, like let's hope they don't show up. And Nolan immediately shows up with her, saying that it's was car trouble. Now she's here, ready to go for the case. And he's like, nah, you BS. I know she tried to run away. And he's like, listen, I took a bullet for your client yesterday. You're not in a position to mess with me right now. Because if it wasn't for you, you'd be out of a job. And he has to like kind of sit there and like really, yeah, he's got a point. So the court gets assigned. Everyone's ready for a new day of deliberations. However, the judge takes a look at Nolan and is like, you're here after a gunshot? And he's like, yeah, I'm yesterday I was defending one client. Today I was helping another. So I'm here to see this case through to the end. And he's like, okay. And you were there when Glasser was first arrested. He's like, yes. And he's like, okay, you know what? Come up over here. I want to talk to you for a second on the record. Which obviously, Glasser's lawyer tries everything. There's no reveling. We have a witness case already. We're locked in. And he's like, this is my courtroom. At the end of the day, I get to do what I want. So he brings along Nolan. Nolan immediately starts talking about like the day of Glasser's arrest, again being very strict, being very much to the facts, obviously, which the lawyer tries to discredit him, but Nolan tells his side of the story again, there's was way too many margins, way too many red flags to indicate this was not an accident, this was not a oopsie, this was all done with malicious intent. There is no doubt about it. He immediately, the lawyer goes back on the stand trying to kind of, undermine Nolan again. But the judge is like, well, everything Officer Nolan says seems to be legit. So, and because at the end of the day, this isn't a criminal court. I'm not here to be a criminalist. I'm here because I care about the children. And if there is even a slimmer of a chance that this man is a criminal, a murderer, and a harmful person, I do not feel comfortable letting those kids under his full care. So, the mom gets full custody, legally and physically, no exceptions, no contact until this criminal thing is over. Essentially, that's it. Court adjourned. Which obviously the ex-wife goes up to Nolan, hugs him, thanks him for his everything he's done for her today. Glasser goes up to Nolan and is like, you know what? Okay. You may have protected me. I'm going to give you credit for that. I'm going to respect you for that. But I'm just letting you know. There will be other opportunities. I'm just letting you know about that. Just leaving that out there. Which, again, leaves Nolan a little bit, with hesitation, to be honest with you, about that. Going back over to Juarez, trying to get some information on Chen, dropping to the fact, maybe Roger might be preparing to propose to me. He's been dropping hints about diamond rings, and it's like, it could be maybe he's ready to, drop the question on me, and so I don't know really what to say to him about jewelry. I'm more of a spiritual person, not a real, gem this. So like, what would you recommend? And Chen's like, yeah, when we're on lunch, we'll go for some options, and maybe you'll have an idea what to tell to Roger. But sadly, however, for some reason, Chen's phone has been not Chen's phone, Juarez's phone has been on the fritz, so it's recording messages. And it sends as soon as he hears a name. So it sends to Roger, who hears the whole thing. And obviously he's flabbergasted considering the fact that he's never had an ideal time to propose. He never thought about proposing anytime soon. He's not really that type of person. Now he's kind of royally screwed. The fact that supposedly Juarez is dropping like, yeah, I think Roger's preparing to marry, and I want to know what to say to him. So obviously he's scared shitless right now. He tries calling Nolan and Bailey, but they're like, look. At the end of the day, you gotta talk to Juarez. That's all you really need to do. Like, this is the easiest way out of this situation. And he's like, okay, I'll see what I can do. From there, where do we go? I know Monica does make ball and goes to Garza and Gray, having the guy that the new criminal guy that she's under is suggesting to be removed, and Garza and Gray have a little bit of a side bet of like, who do you think Monica's going to pitch to us next? I'm getting off the board. Who do you think? And they're both wrong with the guy, and he's like, okay, well, there's going to be some, this is going to be a pretty lengthy sting operation. This isn't going to be like a 1, 2, 3 like most of the episodes. Wink, wink. So definitely we need some time. You need to give us as much as you can about the guy so that we can have a chance at building a real case, a real sting operation around him. So that's what we need to do next. Which Monica's like that. That's okay. I'll comply. With that. I believe from there, did we get to that night with the sting operation? Not like a sting operation, but it was a chance for Monica to infiltrate just the awareness of what she can get from the guy. It doesn't really work out in her favor. It really doesn't. He's like, I'm not taking this bullshit. So, like, definitely Monica's cards are starting to fall through the cracks on that one. They're not going to lie to you about that. I believe, do we cut back to that night, or we were already wrapped up the first day? I believe so, yeah, because that was it for the Glasser stuff. Chen goes off to see Bradford before they depart for their end of shift. Then Bradford's like, I'm going to pop by Lopez's for a little bit, so I'll be late for dinner. And Chen from there is like trying to drop some tea about Juarez and Roger, and Bradford has to immediately kind of pivot the conversation considering the fact Juarez mentioned jewelry and the ring. So that's when he just says, yeah, I don't. That is way too soon. Like, they just started dating. They're like together for like a blimp. So like for them to even talk about marriage is like stuff that should be saved for a longer run. Which I'm like, Bradford, technically you and Chen haven't even hit a consistent year yet. Maybe you have. I don't know. I don't know what you count at these metrics. But anyway, so you don't have any. But I know he was trying to save face on that. By the time he goes back to Lopez saying that I panicked. I didn't really have much of a choice. Like, I have to throw Juarez under the bus. It's like a lot of people are throwing Juarez under the bus this week. But the fancy jewelry guy is here. He brings very expensive selections for Bradford, and Bradford's like, I am not that rich. I have a very limited income. He's like, I understand. I was aware, but I was just trying to get a feel, and also as this being an introduction, I want to know about you, about Lucy, about your relationship. What are your defining traits and qualities that will help me pick out the best ring for you? And Bradford starts basically listing off all the reasons and everything he's loved about Chen since the beginning, and everything of the sort, and how lucky and privileged he is to have her. And he's like, okay, I got what I need, so I'll come back another day. I'll bring the correct selections for you, and we'll take it from there. That's when Bradford decides to chime in too about the whole hey, by the way, we're kind of in an operation. I'm pretty sure Aaron's watch that you gave him has been taken. And he's like, oh yes, I know. And so like, do you know any shady people in your industry that maybe would be very eager to get a hands on that? And he's like, well, legally, yeah, no, that's not really something anyone really advertises, but I got my suspicions on some people, so I'll put out some feelers. I'll get back to you to see what I can get. So we'll cut back to that momentarily. Juarez hits back home to obviously be a little disgruntled about the fact that she has been trying to reach out to Roger all day, no responses, no anything. She's starting to fear the worst in that, but thankfully he shows up and manages to say, I did some thinking, I did some soul thinking. I was ready to perceive about the idea of proposing, which Roger's like, don't worry, it was just a ploy to get Chen in on some information about potentially for Bradford to get a ring for him, and they were talking about rings and with Aaron, and he's like, I don't think Aaron and Chen would have the same caliber of jeweler, so I don't think they would match on that. And Juarez says a casual aside to that point that yeah, no, it usually wouldn't work, and they're not aligned whatsoever, but sadly it's taken out of context and it gets sent over to Aaron, who's in the middle of jogging. So I'm like, damn, that hurts. Monica heads back over to the lawyer, saying that that's it. I lost everything. I have no angles right now, and the feds have something on me finally. So that's it. This is game over. What do I do? And he's like, well, what option? So you can make a new plea deal. Try running. And she's like, these are not great options considering the fact that she doesn't have anything really that she can to utilize, to be honest with you. I believe, I don't remember, this is the phone call. She makes 2 phone calls, I know that. One is basically telling one side that the other side is getting in to attack her. I need reinforcements now. Send people to my location right now. And she calls the other line saying that, look, I'm being hunted. I'm screwed. I need to cash out now. I need help. And he's like, okay, come to this private airport at this time, and we'll take it from there. So all Monica's got to do is escape now, which everyone's ready to finally get this woman, but sadly she's kind of scurrying through the streets of LA, landing in her private spa facility where Nolan, which again, he should be on medical leave. The Glasser case is over. He should be done already. So Nolan, Miles, Chen, and Juarez tries to get Monica, but that doesn't really fully work out, to be honest. She's navigating through the spa, which she's an expert in. She manages to bribe someone into sneaking her out of a laundry car, which manages to work. She ditches her identity, gets a wig, and manages to drive off away, sadly evading Fed's capture. That's when Chen gets the call from Bradford that they got the guy who stole Aaron's car, so now they're forming a quick sting operation to get it, which Juarez and Chen are going to go, while Nolan and Harper will be chewed out by Garza for you had one job, Nolan. One job. So from there, they're at the bottom of a bridge. They're ready to do the operation. Accidentally, Aaron almost let slip about the ring. They also found that it turns out to be the right-hand man of the jeweler that we got to see last time, as one of the main people down there. So they're like, okay, we got everything we need. We got the confirmation. Let's go in. SWAT breaks through. They start swarming the place. Everyone starts gunning it for the hills. Aaron goes after one of them, the specific one that's related to his jeweler. Him and Juarez double team him. It's a bit of a struggle at first, but thankfully Aaron manages to take him down, and that's when Aaron gets to make his aside to Juarez. Like, oh yeah, just like the thing you called me last night, didn't you? And that's when Juarez like, shoot, I really need a new phone. So yeah, everything's returned to Aaron, obviously after being processed for evidence. So thankfully, that matter is over, said and done on that one. I believe, I'm trying to remember if there's any specific, I know, yeah, to chime off the Juarez thing, yeah, Aaron gets called over by Roger to get explained about what exactly Juarez meant. Thankfully, he's very understandful. They hug it out, but Aaron's like, hey, I shit talk about you all the time too, so don't worry, we're even, no hard feelings. And Juarez like, you shit talk about me? He's like, oh yeah, I do, and it's like, damn. I believe from there, I want to say Monica drives up to Wesley, to his place, where, thankfully Lopez isn't there. Otherwise, he would also be in trouble. But essentially, it was their goodbye. Monica's planned this entire goodbye route, ready to get out of this place, ready to start over somewhere else, and they have a very nice, in a way, heart to heart about everything, about their history, about how things went at the end of the day. And Monica leaves. She gets picked up by a special driver to take her to the private lot in the airport. So, which she does take her to the direction of the airport, but off the beaten path. Turns out she was in cahoots, and she shoots Monica dead. And Monica's just left to die in the rubble. Two shots into the heart. Cut to the next morning. Everyone, sans Nolan, witnesses sees the body, including Wesley. Which again, I mean, I know Wesley's chill with the PD, but I'm like, this is still a crime scene. I mean, lawyers should not be involved here. But I guess he's like kind of like closest with the deceased. So Lopez, like, even though that they had a very tumultuous recent history, it was still someone Wesley loved at some point. So Lopez holding his hand, at least giving him some comfort, is, you know, again, like Wesley probably fell out of love with her years ago, decades ago, but that was still someone you had a very kinship in your life at one point. So it very much is, it was prudence for that to happen, as, you know, everyone watches, and internally, yeah, Garza and Gray are like, yeah, that's it, that's a wrap on us. You know, they're without Monica, this whole task force is not. I mean, we'll talk about that, you know, next time. Nolan hears the news as well as he returns back to medical leave, and he's like, as much as he and Bailey hated Monica, you know, that he wanted her to be arrested and properly charged and convicted. Sadly, that was off the table, and now, you know, she is going. I guess she's gone, so that's not much they can do right now. They just gotta now keep moving forward as a way, and then, you know, and that's about it for that. So then from there we cut back over to, I think we cut back over to Bradford, who Lopez and now his mom sit in on the ring picking. They look at the ring options. These are more lower end, but they all have stories like from previous couples that that's the vibe that the jeweler got, and he even is offering an extra discount for basically like them arresting one of his own people who happened to be a mole. Like, hey, look, if it wasn't for you, I would have a horrible reputation right now. So thank you for that. You will get a discount on this. And he's like, look, pick any ring you want. You can look through them all. I'll tell you the story on all of them, and maybe one of them will resonate to you that fits you and Lucy pretty well. Bradford picks up the first one. I'm like, it's always the damn first one. We only got 2 minutes left on the runtime, and, you know, he says like, yeah, it was the couple were friends at work for many years, and eventually they started to fall in love with each other, and next thing you know, they were together for many happy years. Which again symbolizes somewhat to Bradford Gem, where like they worked together for a good amount of years, and they realized their feelings for each other, and then now they're at the point where they could potentially spend the rest of their lives together. So Bradford picks out that ring as like, this is it. This is the ring I'm going to propose to Lucy with. And that was it for this week's episode of The Rookie. Like I said before, I was really, again, wrapping up Glasser so early, which again, like, did I want to see that whole storyline like get strung out the way it did? Not preferably, so to speak. I would have definitely liked it to have a little bit more to the middle point, but I guess with the Monica storyline ramping up, and then Aaron being there as well, and then obviously people want the Chenford proposal already. That was all important to the context of it too. So I'm like, I get that Glasser had to be moved aside for the time being. This serves as like his season conclusion, unless he come back next episode, which that I'm not aware of. But again, you know, that was being closed and shut. For me, it's like both sides are both positive and negative. Like, they're explorable. I love seeing Aaron, you know, again, Aaron having these one-off moments now. Well, again, he's not a series regular anymore. He's not part of the cast anymore. Still having him around the family, still having his presence be felt is enjoyable. It really, really is. And, you know, as much as, and I love all the little banter he has back and forth with everyone. I really do miss it. But again, it's correct at this margin where like we have enough to miss that certain thing. It really is. From there, we are going to go back over to, and then Monica, finally wrapping it up. And I literally made this correlation where, like, I think the episode where Monica died is the same week on Matlock that she premiered in, or vice versa. So it's like she died in one show as a former lawyer, and she got reincarnated on another show as a lawyer. So it's like, It's irony how it works. It's irony how it works, to be honest with you. But I wish the actress nothing but the best. Her being kind of like a pseudo antagonist this season was fun, and we'll talk more about that in the spoiler free segment in a few weeks from now. But honestly, just seeing her story wrap up, honestly, the way it kind of deserves. Like, there was no way Monica was ever going to get a happy ending. There was no way. And this being the case, it just kind of resettles in reality that there are real punishments to actions. Sometimes you get lucky to avoid them. This is one of the rare times where you feel the full blast, and honestly, it is what it is on that format. Um, and again, Chen for Proposal finally happening next week. Next episode, we're going to review the finale. It's a very weird full circle when it does happen. It's going to be a very weird full circle. We'll talk more about that next time, but it's something that 2018 me would be very much baffled by, because I was expecting a whole different other thing with these characters. But again, with that being said, I'm giving this episode 2 thumbs up. Let me know down below what you think of this week's episode of The Rookie. Did you love it? Did you like it? Let me know down below. I would love to have a conversation with you about it. But I believe that's going to do it for me today, everyone. So if you're unaware, this has been What's the Two from ActionX, reviewing every episode in the 8th season of The Rookie. If you want to know what we're doing normally, What's the Two besides our rookie episode reviews. Right now, we have nothing else. We just wrapped up Madlock. We are going to have a couple more Madlock videos come out, but other than that, the primary Madlock content is over. But if you care about The Rookie, you're in luck. We do have one more episode to review. I should be getting that out just before I leave for vacation. If not, it will be out while I'm on vacation. So it will be done, it will be edited, it will be out, but I won't be around to promote it, sadly, as I'll be in a very Wi-Fi less area. So I will be off the grid for the most part of it. But you will get your finale review very soon. And then from there, you'll get a Season 9 predictions video, which will most likely be recorded when I come back, and then a Season 8 spoiler-free up review for those who have yet to watch the 8th season of The Rookie, which is technically now all available on Hulu for your binging consumption. But again, I'll see you guys very, very soon for the finale. But thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't yet. Like, favorite, share if you want to. Ring that bell and follow social media for more. But until we see each other again, thank you so much for watching. Please stay safe out there. Be good to each other. And as always, peace out.